Alrighty, class. We are going to be transitioning over to math. Today we are going to be doing an assignment using our computers. Don't pull your computers out just yet, though. I'm going to introduce to you the assignment first. That way you're not fiddling around with your computer while you're supposed to be doing your assignment. So, being that this is a math, we're going to be talking about multiplication, things like the communicative property, uh, we have, here's an example. We have, we could have 6 times 2 times 2. And thanks to the communicative property, you can do this in any order. So you can do 6 times 2, which would give us 12. And then you could do 12 times 2, which would equal 24. Or you could do 2 times 2 first instead, which would give you 6 times 4, which also equals 24. Uh, any order, as long as it is all multiplication or all division even, can be done in this way. And that is what we are going to be talking about. Although we're going to be focusing on multiplication today, so don't do any division. We are going to be using ChatGPT to pretty much ask it questions, explaining to us why this works. And so you will ask ChatGPT, you're going to be asking it a question such as, explain why 2 times 3 equals 6 in Common Core. So it's important that we ask in Common Core because that's the way we are going to be learning today, class. And it will explain it to you. ChatGPT will give you very, very real examples. So actually, I wish I had the screen showing here, but we could ask ChatGPT. You can open it up and you can ask it the question, explain why 6 times 4 equals 24 in Common Core. And it'll give you a few different examples. Now, asking an AI the question is not going to be 100% accurate every time. And also, it's not a replacement for you actually knowing how it works. So what we're going to do is we are going to use the example that ChatGPT gives us, and we're going to create our own. So I typed, explain why 6 times 4 equals 24 in Common Core. And one of the examples it gave me is that it would be something like 4 sets or 6 sets of 4. So 6 times 4 is equivalent to having 6 sets of 4. So you could have these little boxes here. Each one is 4, and we'll make 6 of these boxes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they are boxes of 4. And we can see with these 6 boxes of 4 that if you added all of them up, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, that would equal 24 cubes total. And so that's an example that ChatGPT gave. It talked about how you could have 6 sets of 4. So it gives an example. So what we are going to do, class, is we are going to take that example that is given to us by ChatGPT, and we are going to expand our mathematical knowledge with it. And so what I mean by that is we are going to pick another set of multiplication numbers, and it can be whatever you want, but try to keep the numbers small because we're not trying to do anything crazy today. So I don't want to see any people asking ChatGPT what 6 million times 400,000 is. We're going to keep it all small numbers that are less than 10. And we are going to practice utilizing the method that ChatGPT shows us. So for example, instead of 6 times 4, maybe I would like to do, 5 times 3. And so you would do the same thing. You would take that question, and using the methods that ChatGPT showed you, you will replicate it yourself. So in the previous one, ChatGPT said, oh, it's like having 6 sets of 4. So you could do the same thing here and have 5 sets of 3. And so you could give your own example, similar to the one that ChatGPT showed us, to show that you are understanding what ChatGPT is telling you, because You have to be able to replicate these results in multiplication without having a computer or an AI helping you. So you will use the methods shown by ChatGPT, but you will then look away from the computer and not use an AI to solve the math yourself. It's important. It's very important that we solve the math ourselves. So let's take some time and we are going to create some examples of our own. Now, class, here we have a great example of what I was talking about where AI may not always get everything correct. When we had another student type in 6 times 4, explain that in Common Core, we can look at its second example where it says distributive property, and you can see that it breaks down 6 properly because 6 is equivalent to 2 times 3. But for some reason, we don't know why, who knows, it could be the way that the AI searched for the information or the way it organized it. It says it can be, it says 6 times 4 can be rewritten as 2 times 3 times 4.2 times 3, which is quite confusing. There shouldn't be any decimal point there whenever we're trying to break it down, because if anything, that makes it more difficult. And usually these strategies are to make the mathematics easier to do. So you can see that this isn't quite correct. I even sat down and tried to do whatever problem this is saying itself, and it ends up with a number much bigger than 24. And so this is a great example of why we have to be able to double check our own work and not just have an AI do it. Maybe in the future they'll be so great that something like this will be very rare, but it's better that you have the ability to check it yourself. You should always be able to back up whatever these things are saying with your own work and your own knowledge instead of having to rely on this, because you can see here, if somebody followed that and wrote that down, 2 times 3 times 4.2 times 3, you would get something much different than what the answer is actually supposed to be, which in the case of 6 times 4 would be 24. So we need to make sure that we are capable of double checking our work, because we never know if something happened with the computer. You know if something's happened with you. If you got hit in the head, you know that your head hurts or whatever else. A computer, it's harder to tell, especially with things like AI, where they're connected to somewhere else in the internet and we don't know where, and we don't know where they're getting their information from. So just like anything else in the internet, we can't always trust it 100%. So this is a great example of what I'm talking about, where we have to be capable of backing up the examples that the AI gives us with our own knowledge. Now, being able to show different examples or things that aren't as visual is very important and gets more important later on down the line. So we had a student that picked a couple larger numbers. They're both less than 10, just like I asked. However, if you did the boxes, it would take a little bit more time than you want to make this happen. You'd have to draw 81 squares total. You'd have to do 9 sets of 9 squares for this. So maybe you don't want to do that. So there's other ways to break it down or to show your work that don't involve drawing boxes. And this demonstrates that you understand what the AI is telling you as well. So for example, with 9 times 9 equals 81, you could always just show other examples, like you could do 9 plus 9 plus 9, and you could do that 9 times. That's way easier than drawing 81 boxes, right? Just drawing the letter or the number 9 times. And this is something that is a little bit harder for someone to understand if they're still at the beginning of their multiplication. But once you already get it, it's a lot easier. We'll actually write them all down. Excuse my poor handwriting. So that's 9 nines. That's way easier to do than, drawing 81 boxes. And so that's another way to demonstrate that you understand. And then you just add them up. You could do 9 plus 9 is 18, plus 18, plus 18, plus 18, and 9. And it still ends up being a lot of writing for big problems. But as long as you are showing that you can do the work, and show why 9 times 9 equals 81. Not just write it down, because a lot of us have it memorized. I'm sure a lot of us know our multiplication tables through and through, but you have to be able to understand why these things work, because in higher mathematics, you're going to have to break things down even more. And so that's why we're doing this. Okay, now that we have played around with the AI and asked it a couple math questions, we are all going to be make sure you keep your work. Don't throw away any of your papers or anything that you have for this. We are going to close our computers. We're going to put them back in our desks. And now we are going to be creating problems of our own and answering them in the way that the AI did, that ChatGPT did. This is a very important part, being able to show that you could do it without a computer. Of course, it's not a test or anything, and if you need help, then I'm still available and willing to show you. There's lots and lots of ways to show examples, and if you need help coming up with one, then please do. But utilize what you have there that you got from ChatGPT and kind of make it your own. Okay, class? I'll be coming around and observing and helping you out with whatever you need help with.